Hi Virgo, welcome to your weekly reading. Once again, we are here ready to receive the latest messages from the universe. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a wonderful week since the last time you stopped by. This is an overall reading, and if you like a private one, you can email me at createharmonywithlove@gmail.com. I will leave that information in the box below. These readings are timeless, so you can come anytime and re-listen or listen to the video as many times as you need to. And even if it's not in the same or the right sequence, it doesn't matter. Outside our physical world, time does not exist. So when we are receiving these messages, they're not really bound to any period of time. So it's good to remember that. Okay, a lot of times we tend to get a little stuck and say, well, I got this last week, and what about next week? I haven't seen anything happen during a period of 7 days. When is that going to happen? And, Spirit doesn't work that way, okay? It doesn't keep in, check or in mind time. It's more important to know that based on how you feel, what you're thinking and what you're feeling is what is going to make things happen faster, okay? So if you're in this pool or this space of doubt and regrets or discontent, most likely you are going to push back anything that may come your way, okay, especially if it's something positive. So we need to keep that in mind, that we create our reality, and the way that we feel and think determines how we attract things, not just when, but how we do it. So let's begin. Let's start with the messages from the ancestral deck. And I see here 3 cards. We have Druid. I love this card. I love all of these cards. I feel like they're all very meaningful, especially when, are representing the voice of ancient people. So we know that this is a teacher in the Celtic times. That's what they were called. And they were considered to be the messengers between the spirit and humans. Okay, so they were the ones that were able to translate, just like the shaman. So as you can see here, Virgo, that you right now are being supported by very wise vibration. So, you are being guided. There's a lot of guidance here from ancestral energy or beings that have attained a lot of wisdom. And I'm not surprised. You've gone through an incredible change in the last, I would say, 2 or 3 years, and it continues. And you've learned a lot. You finally have figured out and understood a lot of your life lessons, and now you're here putting into practice some of the things that you've learned. So I see that you have a lot of clarity here with the sun, okay? This is a time of a lot of prosperity, and prosperity doesn't always mean money. Sometimes it's about feeling good about ourselves, feeling positive, not letting other people's limitations and challenges or ideas to get in our way. It's about being flexible. It's about being relaxed, especially even in those moments where we don't, we're not, things are not perfect. And just being able to know that everything is okay, that things are just working out, and, that things will get better. It's all about the attitude that we have towards everything. I remember one time I was driving from, I visited some friends in a different, state. And as I was coming back with my daughters, we got caught up in this awful snowstorm. And I had never driven through ice. I mean, even though I live in Chicago, you know, at the time when that happened, I was not really that experience in driving through, you know, on ice. So imagine an ice storm. And I remember driving through it and freaking out because cars in front of me were sliding off the path. They were just, you know, like, you know, driving off to the ditch. And I was petrified. And I remember I stopped in the middle of the road. I couldn't see like 2 meters in front of me. And I just froze. And I remember my daughter saying, "Mom, you can do this." Especially, this was my oldest daughter. She was such a sweetheart. "Mom, you can do this." And barely I started again. And finally, I exited in the next exit at a gas station and took a break just to release a lot of my fear. About 20 minutes later, I figured the storm was not going to end. You know, and I needed to get home. I needed to, you know, get to Chicago. And I just took a few deep breaths and, you know, just build enough courage to continue. And the funny thing was that after an hour of driving, all of a sudden clear skies came up. And honestly, it did not look like I had just gone through a storm, especially as I was getting closer to Chicago. So that tells you that sometimes we're in the middle of a storm and we think that it's never going to end. And sometimes we feel discouraged, impatient. We lose faith. You know, we don't want to feel the emotions that arises when we are in an environment that doesn't feel safe. But yet, you know, if you keep in mind that eventually it's going to end and things are going to change, you know, that's one of the natural laws of, you know, our reality is that everything is in constant change. There are times when we feel a lot more flexible during those changes than other times, but eventually everything is bound to change. And the more you hold on to an idea or to a situation, the worse it gets. Okay, so everything is, you know, I think it's one of the things that we human beings struggle with the concept of everything is in constant change, and those changes are needed so that we can grow and mature and expand. Okay, if things don't change, and then we're living the same life, doing the same things, and where's the growth in that? So here with the sun, you know, we definitely see an expansion. It's a time where all of the lessons you learned up to this point, all of the changes you've gone through, is leading you now into a period where you're going to see the prosperity of that. You're going to enjoy. And it's going to be very easy. Okay, and this is what I'm hearing, the hard days are over. You finally understood the lesson. And now as you're putting into practice all of the things that you learn, you will see how easy life will get. Of course, this message is not for everyone out there, but for those of you who know exactly what I'm talking about, you will understand my point. So here I see, you know, next to the sun, this beautiful sun, these two energies, okay, that speak of wisdom. Okay, these are the voices of our ancestors that, you know, are wise. With the Native American people, for example, when they do ceremonies, they smoke a pipe and they sit around and, you know, at first they sit in silence and they observe the silence. And as they're smoking, they're calling upon the energy of the ancestors. And the reason being is because they know that their ancestors have already lived in this reality. And through their experiences, they learn. They learned their lessons. And now they ask for assistance, especially in those moments in our life when we don't have a clear answer. So we're seeking for that. And here I could see that you're being supported for, by this kind of, wisdom. So don't be surprised, Virgo, if you're starting to feel a sense of having, insights through your dreams. Or maybe sitting down and, as you're relaxing, all of a sudden having a download, okay, or inner awareness about something. And of course, it's all specific to your path. With the shaman here, these are, again, another name for wise people. They have the ability to travel different realms through their dream state. And that's how they can assist other people. Okay, so they can move through the different filters of reality and access information. Could be from the Akashic records, supposed to be that place where all, information about all kinds of existence exist. Here you could see with the owl, this is a beautiful totem, and every animal in Native American practices bring a message, okay? With the owl, we're talking about the ability to see through things. So you have come to that level of awareness, Virgo, where you're able to sense what other people are about. Okay, it doesn't mean that you know their whole life story. It just means that, you can sense when people come your way, with the intentions they're coming. Of course, we have to discern. We have to use discernment and not use judgment right away. Okay, this requires us to use equanimity and patience and just observe to see how the person unfolds as they are, coming and expressing their ideas, beliefs, and intentions. So with the owl, we have the ability to see through the illusions of physical manifestation. And that's really an incredible quality to have, because that is what helps you to know to some degree as to whether to invest your time and energy with people like this or opportunities. It doesn't just have to be about people. It could be career opportunities, or, if you want to create new partnerships, family members, and so on. So here as the shaman, there is definitely a sense of trusting, trusting your intuition. That intuition is connected to higher forces that are guiding you along the way. Another thing is important to keep in mind is that we all have guardian angels from the moment that we're born, and then we have other guides. Normally those guides are family members, and they change as time goes by and as you begin to change. So the more elevated your awareness or expanded it becomes, and I mean as, unified consciousness, the more sophisticated those guides come and help you. So keep that in mind. So here again, you have certain abilities, okay, due to your growth that now allows you to help people in many different ways. Of course, with the Druid, what is being advised here is to continue to stand your ground, okay? It is not time to doubt, okay? It is not time to let anxiety or any type of mental fear to get in the way and push you into doing something that may create more of an obstacle, okay? So this is a time not to change your plans. If you've made a choice and made a decision, stick to the plan, okay? Don't do anything drastic, This is not about, making any sudden change unless you feel it intuitively, okay? Just think of a tree, okay? A tree has a very strong roots, and yet it continues to grow and bear fruit. Your life, okay, will be a reflection of this. So, just don't do anything. Don't try to fix anything. Just be patient and allow your inner being, your intuition, to speak to you. And if you don't hear anything, it's because you're not supposed to do anything. Okay? You know that intuition, you know that our body speaks very different than our mind. We know this. A lot of times we get confused and, we sort of, the language of our mind, we tend to think is the language of our heart. But, our mind speaks with our thoughts and our body speaks with our emotions, our feelings. So it's important to keep that in mind, that if you think that your heart is telling you a story, and that most likely didn't come from your heart. So it's time, just to take it easy and to let things unfold. And as you pay attention, you will know, you'll be guided to see where you need to go. So here now, as I look at the center of the reading, I see the Five of Swords and the Page of Wands. In the beginning, we have the Three of Wands. So I see a lot of wands on the top here. And what I see here is with the Three of Wands and the Five of Swords, you're being advised once again to please don't let's see how I say this. Just give me a minute. Don't change your mind. Don't change your mind about the decision that you made. Don't, you started, you made a decision, and I believe this I know this is something to do with a relationship that you had and you ended. This has been going on now for the last 2 or 3 weeks, where there's a particular somebody here that keeps showing up in your readings, and I believe this is the same person. But anyways, I'm going to stick to what I see here, and what I see here is that you decided to move on. Okay, with the Three of Wands, we're talking about moving on and stopping communication to a situation that was toxic. Okay, we know that the devil, it's an aspect that sometimes happens when we're in a relationship. So the Lover's card and the devil are two aspects of the same energy. You can have a healthy relationship, and if it's not, it becomes toxic. How? By temptations, and those temptations can, symbolize our fears, our insecurities, selfishness, misunderstandings. Sometimes when we get too focused in our own limitations, we tend to start doubting ourselves, and then we start projecting, and that's when the devil comes in. So there is here, you stop communication in a situation that seemed to be toxic, and now there is someone here looking at that. Okay, so this tells me that there's somebody right now who is looking back and figure it out. Okay, somebody here is starting to really dissect the problem or the obstacle. Okay, and are starting to recognize that whatever happened, okay, between the two of you was not healthy. So I see somebody moving on and stopping communication with this situation. And the outcome of this choice was definitely a very healthy thing to do. Okay, is showing with the Six of Wands, and the number 6 is the energy once again of the Lovers. So we have here, okay, the Devil, okay? And it's one of the aspects of the Lovers when the relationship goes wrong, goes sour. Then we have Six of Wands, which is when two people made a choice or a decision and became clear. And that clarity sometimes, or most of the time, is, okay, so what do I want to get out of this? Is this part of my goal or my dreams or my desires? Okay, because Wands is all about our desires and having clarity about what those are. Here we can see that making that choice, okay, knowing, this is about knowing that walking away was the best thing. It was the healthiest thing to do. So of course you can reverse the roles, Virgo, whether it was the person who left or you left. When I read this, I see you being the one who's walking away. You being the one who is aware that this is an unhealthy thing for you. There may be some cases that it was the other way around, but here I see you recognizing that, no, this is not for me. So definitely there was a victory, okay? That was the right choice to make, which takes us to the Magician. And this is all about knowing what I need to do to attract the things that I want. The Magician has the ability, okay? A lot of times we can see the mastering of our own gifts through the aces. And when we've mastered all of the elements, right? Because the aces demonstrate the different elements, okay? We're talking about our thoughts. We're talking about our emotions. We're talking about our ideas, our gifts, our goals. So all of these are aspects of the elements. And when we understand them fully, then the Wheel of Fortune comes in. Okay, this is when we're able to manipulate, and I don't know that manipulate is the right word, but I believe it's more about become more aware of how we create our life experiences. So here with the Five of Cups is the energy of the Hierophant. Okay, so the Five of Cups is one of the expressions of the teacher. It's all the teacher. It's all about our life lessons. What are the things we learn through life that we can use to our benefit? Okay, so if you had an experience in a relationship and you see it as something negative, and now you're using it to the next experience, to the next relationship, what do you think the outcome will be? So you got to think about that. Now, if you learned something that was not very easy, and it was hard and difficult, but it taught you something really useful about you, and you now understand that in the next relationship, it requires you to behave differently so that you don't have to go there. And then that's a really positive outcome because you're learning to change something that can definitely bring some rewards. We have to come to terms at some level, at some point in our lives, that we cannot change people, but we can change ourselves. So maybe this is an aspect of being able to avoid a situation with somebody before it gets too far in advance. And that might have been one very good reason for you to let this relationship go. Okay, it's like, oh, I see where that's coming, and due to my experience and knowing what has happened before, I am going to walk away, because ultimately this is the devil, okay, will continue to be a devil. And the only way that we can transform that energy is through the right way of thinking. So here, we are definitely looking into the Magician. Now, the interesting thing is that while it was victory for one person here, for the other one was not. okay? Because with the Five of Cups, which is an expression of the teacher, life lesson, somebody is looking at their ability to make choices and to understand their ideas and how they feel. They're seeing that I'm not happy about what happened here, okay? Somebody is judging themselves and not necessarily in the best of ways. I'm going to clarify the Five of Cups. Let's clarify that Five of Cups. And there is a Five of Swords. Yes, so here is the person that you're dealing with, Virgo. Right now, they are rewinding the movie. They're sort of assessing the situation, whatever happened between you and this person. And they're not really happy about their choice. They're not happy about what they're getting out of this. So whatever, encounter took place between you and this person, the outcome, as time goes by, is making this person look deep within themselves and check, and see if the choice they made and what they did was the right thing. And they can, as they're studying the situation, they're starting to realize that they didn't come across as someone who knew exactly what they wanted, okay? So they're definitely realizing that. And that's why the Five of Cups is here. So here we have the number 5 repeated twice. And I believe to some degree that on one end, you decided to walk away from this, situation, as well as now this person is also recognizing that they themselves were not very clear, okay, about what they wanted. They themselves are struggling how they feel about the outcome of this situation. So they're realizing many things and they're working through that. Of course, this is someone who is walking like a turtle. It's not a situation that they can just basically, find the clarity they need, because they don't have the wisdom, they don't have the growth to be there, not in the same way that you come across, Virgo, okay? So I could see that they're very much stuck in their heads, okay? And because of that, it's making them, hesitate. They're having a very difficult time approach you. They are having a difficult time knowing what to say or what to do. I believe here that somebody came with the Three of Wands. As you look back, somebody communicated or tried to communicate through text or email, and you didn't respond, or you just didn't, you just let it go. Because with the 8 upside down, that means no communication. So you walked away. And again, as I see this, I can see the affinity and the similarity to your other readings. So once again, I find you, Virgo, surrounded by the energy of this person that seems to have a connection with you. I believe that and I said this before, I believe that you and this person have made an agreement at a soul level. And part of this agreement is that as you come in this incarnation, that you would help each other out. I also feel, Virgo, that your decision was preordained. No wonder the energies are telling you here, don't do anything. Stand your ground, and it is not time to doubt the power of your choice. I believe that the choice you made, at some level, it's helping this person grow. So you're not here to fix it. There's nothing to fix. So if you're having second thoughts, and for a moment you're feeling a desire to reconnect with this person, the advice that is given here is to don't. Of course, you have free will, my friends, and ultimately you could do whatever you want. But the advice of the tarot here, of the oracle, of the spirit is not. This person is going through a time of transformation that they need to learn this lesson, or it's the, let's say it's the ripe, it's the time is ripe. And it's incredible that they're learning it with you. This is about them learning not to take things for granted. Have you've heard that saying, Virgo, that sometimes it's not until we lose something that, let's see, that we value, that we understand that their value. So it's kind of like that. It's like, be careful. Let's see, what am I trying to say here? We don't know what we have until we lose it. That's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like this is what this person is going through. And the best option you have is to focus on other areas of your life. And I know that right now for you, Virgo, especially those of you who are single, part of your desire is to be in the perfect relationship, not just any relationship. I don't feel that. I feel, Virgo, you've come to the point that you are saying, if I'm not with the right person, I'd rather be alone. So this is not just about having anyone in your life for the sake of having company. This is about having the right person. So this time around, you're doing what it takes and put into practice what you've learned to finally achieve that goal. And it's not just about a goal. It's about, I always say, it's not about, getting to the destination. It's how we get there. So you are, as much as you are wanting to have a partnership, you also know that it's not just anything. It's not any type. It's the one. And this is not something that can be rushed. Of course, those of you who are in a relationship, well, it's wonderful because in this moment, there could be some readjustments in the relationship. But of course, a lot of those readjustments come up as an opportunity to help two people work together better. Okay? Sometimes we need to readdress and reassess our agreements. And that's a very healthy thing to do. So here, I see the Virgos that are single, you're trying to create an experience, but this time around is the right one. So, one of the things that the Empress does when she cannot create the type of experience that is going to elevate her, that is not going to help her fulfill, is to, give up. It's like, I'd rather sacrifice knowing that what's coming next is going to be an attainment at a higher level than continuing to pursue something that it's taking me to a dead end. Okay? So there's something happening here, Virgo, with this person that you, by the choice that you made, is helping them grow, as they're also learning how to appreciate you in a way that they couldn't before. This is not something that can happen overnight. This is not something that I would recommend for you sitting down and waiting. This is something that eventually will unfold to a degree where you be able, Okay, you'll be able to know with more details the impact you've had on their lives. In the meantime, my dearest Virgo, it requires you to continue your journey. Okay, to continue to focus on those things that are going to elevate your spirit. There, once again, the 5. This is the persons, they're having a very difficult time and they're continuing to study the situation. So let's check the 8. And I feel like, you know, one of the struggles, once again, is a lot of, you know, what's in their mind, in their heads. Somebody's feeling very insecure about this approach. They may think that, yeah, the more time passes by, they can see that you're quite determined to remain, you know, stand your grounds, and that's making them even more nervous. They now are, if before they might have hesitated and thought that at some point you might come back and reach out, now they're certain that you are not doing that. So now they're starting to wonder if the best thing to do is for them to come. The funny thing is that, you know, with this Knight of Swords, I always feel like the Knight of Swords is not even close to the Knight of Cups. Somebody here is coming and they're kind of tipping their toes in the water. This is also them. It's funny, I feel like this person thinks that you may at some point come and reach out to them. They do. In the back of their heads, they're hoping that that's what you do, that you will somehow text or call them. And they're also afraid here, Virgo, that you may just come and they're also afraid that if they come to you, that you may just tell them you don't want anything to do with them. They don't want to be rejected, nor they want to lose you. And the question here that I will ask, Virgo, is this person that important to you? I definitely, you know, see that their energy, their vibration is still in your reading. And I'm curious to know if this is because of you or is it because of them? Are you the one who's still investing time and energy thinking about them, curious to see what they're going to do? Or is it just them that they seem to have such a strong connection to you that it's just, they're all over you? Of course, you'll know that the answer to that. What I'm picking up here is that to some of you, my friends, someone here has a very strong connection to you and they are all over you, even though it may not, you may not feel affected by it. And there are those of you who I think you still, I feel that you still think of them and wonder. You will let me know. Yeah, and you know, I see that we have the 9 of Pentacles here and the 8 of Cups. And this is you, Virgo, you making an announcement And you know, with the page here, this is not necessarily about talking about the decision. It's more about doing it. This is you leaving the situation without having to say much. Yep. Yep, you definitely just killed it. Killed it, ended, whatever you want to call it. It's funny because I feel like this vibe is still going on, is very much alive. And, you know, it has a lot to do with the realization of this person. And, you know, it's funny, I was talking about that storm as I moved through that storm. So, you know, you get to the point where, you know, the fear, consumes you. And, you know, you're frozen and you don't know what to do. And especially if you start realizing how precious and valuable this other person is. And somebody's feeling that about you, that you're very precious in their life. Of course, with this, you know, when I look at the at these energies here of the ancestors around you, I feel that you're very determined. You're very determined this time around. You're very determined not to get involved with people that are not there to appreciate you and offer you the things that you can offer. You're somebody who is, you know, you're always helping other people. Even in the worst of moments, you just don't know how to say no. And not to say that you are going to compromise your own well-being. Sometimes you've done that many times, Virgo, but now you're learning that it's not a good idea. At the end, a lot of times you are not appreciated. So learning how to appreciate yourself above all things has been a very hard lesson to learn. And now that you're clear, you know that you can see that. You can see when somebody has the ability and has the, you know, the understanding to be aware and appreciative of somebody like you, and when somebody doesn't. So I continue to feel, Virgo, that you are still growing, and this is a different cycle for you. I believe that in some ways, the decision you made with this person was a small little lesson or test that you needed to overcome, just to prove yourself that you are determined and serious about your goals. You will not let anyone or anything get in the way of your success. You are not going to compromise your self-worth for the sake of being involved in a relationship. And I admire that very much. I like to do my readings, Virgo, on Fridays. Fridays is the day of Venus, okay? Is, you know, every planet is associated with a day of the week, and Friday is Venus. And Venus is, you know, we know it's all about love and prosperity. Venus can also be a troublemaker. I've always say that. But overall, when we talk about Venus, we're also talking about love for the self. And that's the priority. That's the number one. And once you learn that, and then, you know, we create connections and relationships with other people that can represent different aspects of what we consider to love be. Okay? So you in your journey right now are starting to create these beautiful connections to people that are there to support you in that path, the path of loving yourself. And Friday is a great day for you to maybe do a little bit of a meditation, or to, maybe have a rose quartz. I know that when we, get married, women receive a diamond, and they say diamond is the girl's best friend. To me, the most beautiful gemstone that represents love is rose quartz. It can be used to help heal ourselves, as well as to represent unconditional love. So it's not a bad idea for you to go out there and find yourself a rose quartz and have that stone with you. And on Fridays, either buy yourself flowers, or light a candle and just connect with that energy of Venus, especially if you're looking for love. And pay attention, okay? Because you're constantly being guided. And especially with these energies, my goodness, I can assure you that you will definitely get the proper messages and the proper guidance. All right, my dear Virgo, I hope you like the reading. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you next week. Thank you for watching.